It's now time for the Coaches Show on News Talk 1250 KBRF and KBRFradio.com, presented by the Viking Cafe and brought to you by the Minnesota Motor Company, Lake Region Healthcare, Nelson Auto Center, Quality Toyota, and by Running Stitches. Now for the Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe, here's Craig Olson.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the program Saturday morning, our Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls. They provide us breakfast every week, and they'll be happy to provide you any meal that you would desire, whether it's breakfast or lunch at the Viking Cafe. And in fact, they're going to make it easy for one of our viewers this morning, because at the end of the program, or toward the end of the program, we're going to draw for the winner of a $25 gift certificate from the Viking Cafe, and you can get entered by texting the keyword Viking to 321-1926. That's 321-1926. And do it now. A couple of orders of business here right off the bat. The Spartan women are not playing today. They've got a home game scheduled against Anoka Ramsey, but the flu is going through the Lady Spartans team right now. They did not make the trip to Austin the other night for their game against Riverland, and they're still not healthy today. So no women's game at the college today. The men's game has been moved up to 2 o'clock, and the Spartan Buddies, who were scheduled to perform between games, will now perform at halftime of the men's game today. So that's the scoop on the Spartans. And we'll be having coverage today on the video stream through the KBRF YouTube channel and the Fergus Now app, and on News Talk 1250 KBRF of Otter basketball. The Otter boys are at Roosevelt today, taking on West Fargo. That is a 2 o'clock start, and we'll have coverage of that one for you this afternoon on News Talk 1250 KBRF. So that's the housekeeping issues for today. And now we welcome Matt Johnson, the head coach of the Otters boys basketball team, to the program today. And we were talking, Dave Bishop is our engineer today, and Dave did the game over in DL the other night with the video, and we were talking about the new facility there and what a nice setup that is, and we were talking about the Hive in Perham, and we're talking about Moorhead, where you'll play next week, and their new gym next Saturday. But the consensus we came to, Matt, at the end was you're playing in the best gym around today.
It's hard to beat the game day atmosphere of Roosevelt, right? The nostalgia, the history. I think you walk in, it just smells like Otter basketball, right? It's just it's a kid for me, or growing up as a kid, getting to go watch some of the Otter greats play there as a high school kid. So for me, it has a lot of built-in memories. But yeah, it's just the game day atmosphere is phenomenal.
Hey, I can get chills just sitting here thinking of the We Want the Otters. I'm getting them right now. See, I mentioned it. We Want the Otters cheer in that gym.
Yep.
And then the guys coming out. Oh,
pretty special. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our kids enjoy playing there.
It's awesome. So that's today at 2 o'clock, and get over there if you can. And if you can't, you can watch it on the video stream. So we'll look forward to that. Okay, enough on that. We'll come back to West Fargo a little later, but we got a couple of games to talk about. And the first one is last Monday. You had a game at St. Cloud Tech. Kind of a tale of two halves. Thankfully, you survived the second half, but what a great start. You know, as a coach, can you even hope for a start like that on the road? You know, to go 41-19 at halftime.
Yeah, pretty impressive effort for our guys to show up. You know, and we really haven't been very healthy. And you know, we've got a couple ankles. We've had sickness going through kids. And so I really didn't know what we'd have. Didn't know if Pee Wee would play. Eli Fullhart had been really sick for the last week. And so on a Monday at St. Cloud, it had a recipe to not be a very good start. And, you know, I asked Pee Wee in warm-ups, can you go? He said, I don't think so. So he didn't start. And then a couple minutes into the game, he said, hey, I want to give it a shot. So he got a shot, and then he ended up being phenomenal. He was really good. Nolan Felstool really got us off to a hot start, shot it really well. Jacob Jens continues to play really well. I thought Micah was good. And so really fun to see us get off to a really nice lead. And we needed that. Second half, I thought maybe some of the injury, illness caught up to us. I thought we fatigued, and more so in decision making. Our physical effort is good, but when you don't quite have your normal energy, maybe your physical strength, I thought our decision making, the mental side of the game is where we really, I wouldn't say collapsed, but it was
struggled.
We struggled.
There.
We struggled. And so great learning opportunity for us, but also one of those I was just really proud of the job our kids did to fight through that, because when adversity strikes, and it always will, how are you going to respond? And there hasn't been a single time this year. Well, there's been one time, right? But the first DL game, but I've forgotten that one happened. Our kids just respond with an effort that is really special. It makes them easy to coach. A kid like Cam Wiedrich, who we don't talk about a whole lot, maybe doesn't lead us in stat categories every night, but just works, right? And just wants to compete and play. Is a great teammate, continues to defend. He's stepped up his rebounding in moments we've really needed rebounding, runs the floor really well. So there's been some really good moments from our guys, but handling adversity is one of the things that they've done a good job of.
Yeah, that and accepting your roles and fulfilling your roles with the team aspect foremost in your mind. And I think you've got a team that does that. We've seen your guys filling their roles really, really well.
Yeah, you know, Isaac Mock's another one. You talk about filling their roles. He's not a big minute guy, but at DL he gave us some fantastic first half minutes. You know, and his Jacob's playing so well. It's hard to have Jacob off the floor.
Yep.
You know, we've played them together a little bit, but generally Isaac's going to get that couple minutes when Jacob gets a quick breather. But Jacob doesn't come off the floor very much, and so Isaac's accepted his role as a spot guy, but really important minutes. Continues to have great attitude every day. Great communicator for us. A lot of positive energy. So I'm thankful for those guys that star in those roles.
I know you probably thought coming into the year that Jacob would be a key player, play key minutes, do key things for you. But did you see him doing what he's done? I mean, even in St. Cloud, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. You know, those are kind of regular numbers we're seeing from him.
They're regular numbers. You know, I wouldn't say I'm not surprised. I was more surprised the first 3 games of the year that I thought he really struggled. And then post DL game, we really had a conversation about just expectations. He's such a worker. When I say he's like a different level from, there aren't very many. I can probably on one hand count the kids that I've coached that work like he does. We get done with a tough DL game, and the next morning at 6:30, he's in the gym. It's just every single day, so consistent. There's no roller coaster with him. He's just steady as can be, and that work that he puts in, that steadiness, his motor is really special. I wouldn't say that I'm surprised. He really, his footwork's really good. His game keeps developing, and over the course of the next year, it's going to be fun to watch because it will continue to grow. A kid that really wants to play at the next level, really willing to put in the work to do that. So it's fun to see. I've been really proud of him, but he's a pretty impressive player right now.
Tough matchup for a defender, I'm sure. Second half against Tech, what happened? I mean, you're up 41-19, and you wind up holding on at the end for a 2-point win.
Yeah, decision-making, understanding winning plays, and how just taking care of the basketball. And again, I don't think their pressure was something that was so suffocating. It was the decision-making. Instead of making the simple play, you're trying to make a more difficult play. And when you're in complete control of a game and up 41-19 at half, you're in control. You should get to control the tempo and decision making. And then credit to Tech. Late they had a kid that really wasn't on the scouting report come in and hit, I think, 3 threes down the stretch. And so you got to give them some credit. A couple of them were tough contested ones, and so you tip your hat to that. That they made some basketball plays too. The famous quote of "they practiced too." Right? They're not going to quit. So that was really, I thought it was decision making. Turnovers got us. We also went icy cold. Early in the half, I thought the shots we got were good shots. They were the ones we got in the first half.
Yep.
Didn't go. And so then how do you find other better looks? And we maybe didn't adjust to that as well from a coaching staff or player standpoint as we could have.
So did you have a couple of players who kind of just got you back on track there down the stretch and helped preserve that win, or was it just like hanging on and just hope that clock runs out?
Yeah, it was more hanging on.
Okay.
Cam hit a couple free throws that were big. Jacob hit a couple free throws. So there's some plays, but in general, it really was. There's nobody that was free from making some of those mistakes. We just, we did get a couple stops down the stretch. After they got it closer, we did get a couple in there, and we had it to 4 points, and we were at the free throw line. So we let them have their last. They didn't have any timeouts left, so we let them have the last two. So it wasn't a 2-point game where there's a buzzer beater sitting on the rim.
Right.
It was a 4-point game. We let them score the last two, so the clock could run out, and nothing silly happened. No 4-point plays. So that was how it turned into a 2-point game at the end.
Would have been a horrible bus ride home had it not turned out with a win yet.
Correct.
But it was a good otherwise.
Yeah.
66-64 was the final, and that was your 5th win in 6 games. So you've kind of established a little run here, a little roll, a lot of positive energy right now.
Yeah, people keep asking, what's different? Well, nothing. They just kept working. I mean, that's how this is supposed to go. You're supposed to learn and grow and get better. The goal isn't to play your best basketball on December 8th.
Right.
I mean, and so we weren't playing our best basketball, but we haven't changed. We're not doing something different. The kids have gained experience. They've gained confidence. They've continued to work every day, and I bragged them up all year, right? They're just workers that show up every day, and this is what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to lose games. You're supposed to watch film on those games, talk about those games, figure out what you need to do better from those games, and then put it into work and practice, and that's what they've done all year. So we haven't done anything different. We've worked hard at the things we were trying to do on day one, and they've gained confidence and experience. So it's been fun to watch that growth.
Rumor has it that you went away from that philosophy, though, this last week, where you did not review tape of the Detroit Lakes game, the first game, in preparation
that
for
game
the
did not
second
exist.
game.
And I talked about the one glitch, and that was the game Trent got hurt in warm-ups.
Right.
And we just were such a shell of ourselves. I would say we didn't compete. We didn't play like we had a plan. And a really important game in our growth, but not one that you can watch film and say, "Hey, right here, guys." That's not. We're not on that one. So yeah, that was the one.
All right. So how did you prep for DL the second time around? What was the conversation going in there? Because boy, you played a much better game against them this time around than the first time.
Yeah, they sell out defensively to try to take away inbounds passes in the full court. And we had 4 or 5 layups in the first half. Should have had 2 or 3 more that we didn't convert, which made them have to adjust to us. So I thought we hurt their pressure early. They had to adjust and soften that up a little bit. And then I thought as the game, we still turned it over too much. And their pressure has a lot to do that. They just keep coming at you. And their plan, right? Their coach will tell you, our plan is to wear you down. We're just going to keep sending waves at you. We're going to shoot quick threes. They're a 7-second offense. They're not interested in sitting on that end for very long. And they're also not interested in sitting in a defensive stance in a half-court game. So I thought we did a good job of controlling tempo. The first good 3 you get maybe isn't the one we want. Mm-hmm. If you've hit 2 or 3, then we want that one. But it's okay to make them guard a little bit. They don't like it. They don't. Mm-hmm. They're not interested. They want to turn you over so they can run and get a quick shot. They're going to try to beat you 105 to 95. So hey, if we can play this game in the mid to high 60s, we're in a good spot. And you look at the end of regulation, that's where we're at. And so I thought a great job of controlling tempo by our guys. Still thought decision making late, some turnovers got the best of us, and they're going to turn you over some. The style they play, they're going to. You have to make them pay with some layups on the other end, and we did that. But needed to take care of it better, and we needed to rebound a little bit better. Those were the 2 goals going in. I thought we worked at them, but still need to improve to beat a good team.
Yeah, you beat them down the floor a couple of times with some long passes too, and took advantage of what they gave you.
Yeah, and we talked early that we're willing to. You might have a turnover or 2 attempting to do that, but if it gives us 5 or 6 layups, we're willing to go that route and try to soften them up. And they did adjust. They took the guy to Carton, Jacob, and put him deep to take away some of the deep stuff, which alleviated the pressure getting the ball in bounds, and that was one of our goals. So I thought we won that mini battle right within the big scheme of it. But yeah, still too many turnovers.
Eston Bethel had 24 points, 7 rebounds in that one, including the big layup that got you to overtime. And just I thought Eston really was kind of hunting his shots that night and making really good decisions offensively.
Yeah, and a kid's still coming off of the ankle.
Right.
We've limited him in practice. We had talked after the game, maybe he doesn't play on Saturday. Maybe today against West Fargo is the day that he's got to get it right. Because even in the middle of that DL game, he was talking to us, and it's not good.
Yep.
But he's tough as nails. He's so tough, and a kid that is supremely talented. The Detroit Lakes coach after the game was raving about Eston's quickness, his ability to get to spots, and just how hard he is to guard. And teams I think are coming in with that game plan. But he's electric. He's quick. He's been shooting the ball really well, and with that piece of his game, he becomes really hard to guard. And the best part about him, he's not out there looking to get his right.
Yep.
He's making the best basketball play in the moment. And if that means hitting Nolan in the corner for a 3, hitting Jacob, hitting Micah or Cam cutting, he's more than happy to do that. And if it's time where he's got to go to work, then he can get downhill and create some really special things for us.
Yeah, and Micah was a key for you in that game. I thought he played a real solid game, as he has been every game, it seems, lately.
Yeah, he's playing it like a savvy veteran. Right?
Yep.
He really, on both ends of the floor, I would say his shot quality, the shots, it took him a while to figure out where do I fit the shots he's taken are the right shots. Finishing really well. He had an and one the other night that was really pretty spectacular. He's just done a really nice job finishing. And then we just relied so much on him defensively to set the tone. The Moss kid from DL is really quick. He's maybe not Pee-wee quick, but he's just a fraction below that. And Micah has a really nice ability, whether it's through film or experience, to figure out a kid's tendencies and preferences and sit on those and take them away. And I thought he figured the Moss out kid in a really impressive way and just made every look he got tough. And he hit a couple big ones against us, but they wasn't for lack of really good defense.
Right.
It was a talented offensive player. So Mike has done a great job for us.
Yeah, Moss hit the field goal that gave him the lead in overtime, then made a free throw, and it was 75-73, a final for DL. Well, today, West Fargo, 2 o'clock, and then 2 more games at home this week. Apollo Tuesday, Brainerd Friday, both at Kennedy. And then on to Moorhead to play Central Cass next Saturday. Both the boys and the girls play there. You get a busy week again, so
they're all busy. This past week was interesting playing a Monday, Thursday. And this week's felt long with a Monday game.
Yeah.
But this coming week we go Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. Big
There we
games.
go.
They're all big games.
Yep. And today at 2 o'clock over at Roosevelt.
Yeah,
Good
we'll have
luck
our
there.
hands full there. West Fargo's really good. Last night they were playing. Cheyenne hit a 3 with 1.6 to take the lead, and then West Fargo hit a volleyball liner to win it at the buzzer. So they're coming off an emotional win last night. We'll see if hopefully that benefits us today.
1.6 left?
Yeah, the kid took 3 dribbles from the other end of the court in 1.6. So
that's interesting.
My stopwatch couldn't get lower than 2.3 when I was reviewing, but the refs counted it, and that's the only guys that matter.
That's true. All right. Well, good luck today, Matt.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Matt Johnson, head coach of the Otter Boys basketball team. Hey, remember to text the keyword Viking to 321-1926. Your chance to win a $25 gift certificate from the Viking Cafe coming up later in the program. And we've got more sports talk coming up as we'll continue after this break with our Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Have you ever experienced love at first drive? At Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls, that spark happens every day when customers get behind the wheel of a new Chevy or Buick vehicle. You'll also fall in love with how you'll be treated. Minnesota Motor Company is a dealership that provides honest deals and small-town care that lasts long after you drive off the lot. Find your new love today.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Tell you another time. Hey, welcome back to the program. Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe. We're talking Otter boys hockey right now. Mike Donahue is here to visit with us about the Otters. They've been busy, 3 games every week, it seems. No chance for any rest, it seems. But you are getting healthier, right? I knock on wood, but it seems like you're getting guys back more than losing them, which is good.
We were physically. I think, the sickness, you're here. Coach Johnson talk a little bit about it with basketball, and I heard you talk about it with the Lady Spartans, and it's in Fergus Falls. There's no secret about that. So I think every team is kind of fighting through that right now, and your hope is we can get through it here this week because the following week playoff starts. So if we're hopefully that bug doesn't hit us a little bit later. We did lose Colin Alt in the Sartell game, unfortunately, so. He'll probably be done for the season, it looks like, with a fractured bone in his foot, just kind of a freaky situation that happened. And so just hoping that he can recover quickly, and he's been so instrumental, I think, just bringing some energy to our team. His physical component he brings to the ice. He's been a tremendous net front presence on our power plays, so certainly things that we will miss out of him as just a freshman. So also a lot of good things to look forward to in the next 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got some good young players who are gaining some great varsity experience this year, playing a lot of minutes. A lot of your young guys, sophomores, some freshmen in there. You're getting some game experience for these young guys. Yeah,
and the development has just been there week to week, and that's what you hope. It's a fast game. Some of our kids that were mine are 14 years old, and they're playing against 18-year-olds that have a ton of experience and high compete level, high skill levels. So that creates some real challenges. And you just look at where they've come since day one to where we're at this week, and we have one more week to get ready. And then the next phase is getting ready for playoff hockey because that's a whole nother level. Yeah, exactly. Well, let's go back to last Saturday. When you left here last Saturday, you were headed up to play a game against the Mayport CG Ice Dogs, and that turned out to be quite a battle. You fell behind in that one, 1-0, but had a 3-1 lead going into that third period, and then it's been the first period that you struggled with, but that third period was not your friend last Saturday. Yeah, which was a little unusual. I thought games we've had a lead going into that third period. We've been able to kind of take care of business, and for whatever reason, we took a couple penalties in that third period. You give them credit. They took advantage of it late in the game on a good line rush. We didn't defend quite hard enough on the rush, didn't defend all the way back to our crease, and they made a good pass from below the goal line, and those are hard plays to defend. They happen so fast. little seams open up, and their guy just made a good play, and they were able to finish.
Well, encouraging thing though, in the third period there, they rallied to tie you at 3-3, and you answered. You responded right away, but then again you let up and let that tying goal in there. But that was good to see that your guys were able to bounce back in that situation.
Yeah, they've been resilient all year. You got to keep going, kind of put the scoreboard to a side at points, and we got to worry about our game, our things that we need to continue to get better at, and goals are going to happen.
Right.
Like we've been shut out a couple of times. We only have one shutout. You need one to win anyways, and then eventually you need one to tie it or one to pull ahead. So it's a matter of just having that right mindset. It's a game of mistakes. You look at you sit and watch film, and boy, they happen over and over again on both sides of the puck. And which team can capitalize on that last mistake? Typically can come out ahead.
And you know what? You can take a Wild video and do the same thing. It still happens in the NHL, right?
Their mistakes aren't any different. They just happen a little bit faster.
Exactly.
And they capitalize the same way. So it doesn't matter the level of hockey. It seems like goals are a result of the exact same mistakes, whether you're talking, we can watch the Olympics happen here coming up, and the same things are going to lead to goals on that sheet of ice.
Corbin Profit and Chase Johnston both had a couple of assists in that game against the Ice Dogs. Zachary Pierce scored one of the goals. I think Luke Johnson the other one. But you're seeing guys step up like that who are contributing point-wise. You've got a lot of different guys who are just really involved in your scoring, it seems.
Yeah, it's been fun to see that evolution in their games. Corbin's he's a gritty player. He works hard. He gets in the corners. He's not a real large physical stature out there, but you don't need to be. If you play the right way, you play large, you play big. Nothing else matters. You have to have a good stick, and he gets in and mixes it up well, and he's able to make some nice plays for us. Chase, we moved him back to defense that game, and he sees the ice well back there. He's not afraid to take a couple offensive chances. Something as a old coach, you got to kind of let go at some point. You still need to score to win. So you kind of grin and bear it, standing behind the bench a little bit, and let him take a couple of risks. And when you can partner him with a senior captain that hopefully can settle that down on the back end and settle that down a little bit. So it's been a good little transition getting Chase back there, and we feel it's more his natural position anyways, and it was just a time to try that heading in towards the final stretch.
Brody Crine and Caden Zender both had, I think, multiple points in that game. You saw Parker Tilke get involved. Those guys have really stepped up, I think, too, and gotten more productive as the season has gone on. And isn't that what you're looking for? I mean, from day one to now, the incremental progression by your individual players coming together as a team.
Yeah, you just look at continuous improvement day to day, and familiarity helps. You a lot of just running where you're going to place a puck. Those passes are so important. If they're just 6 inches a foot off, it can be hard to handle for a player, and it's just understanding positions, knowing players' routes. They kind of take different angles to different areas of the ice, and where can I place a puck effectively where our player can get it and then is able to make a quick next play.
Overall, Mike, have you felt like you've been able to not take penalties that have put you in a bad situation? I don't know how many power plays you've allowed and how many power plays you've had, but are you keeping that to a minimum where you have to go out there and try to kill penalties?
It depends on the game.
Sure.
The flow of the game, but overall, this is a really disciplined group. Obviously, there's times where there's necessary penalties, and everybody understands that. Sometimes there's hard plays, and a referee calls a penalty. And those are the penalties you can kill. You look at a good hard penalty. You look at a tough penalty in your D zone for whatever reason. Typically, you can kill those. You get to the offensive zone. You want to take a slashing penalty in the offensive zone. You want to reach and take a tripping in the offensive zone. For whatever reason, Murphy's Law, whatever it is, but those are the penalties that, for whatever reason, you don't kill those. That puck ends up into the back of your net. So trying to just be able to understand situations, take the necessary penalties, and then we'll just move on from there. And we've tried to make some adjustments with our penalty kill. we're getting there with that. There's times where there's flashes where the end zone kill has been really good. I think our next phase that we need to really improve on is the team entering our zone with the puck and finding some different and better ways to be able to pressure that puck to keep them from setting up.
Well, and a good penalty kill can drive the opposing team nuts. I mean, if they can't get set in their power play and create some opportunities, that can kind of weigh on you mentally out there. And we get a power play, you feel like you don't have a power play.
It absolutely creates a lot of frustration. And then even if you do get it down, you can create that quick turnover. They've got to come 200 feet again. And the more you can wear out and tire down that power play unit, the more effective you're going to be. If you keep your penalty kill shifts 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, if you're able to get a quick puck recovery and a good hard clear on that, you can get fresh bodies on the ice a lot quicker than the power play can.
So how about your power play? How would you assess where you're at there? And are you still kind of, I know you're always tweaking.
Always tweaking, but we're really happy with the way that has been progressing. The guys, we've kind of settled into our spots. Tanner is kind of our quarterback running up on top of the blue line, and his game's really developed and really come along. Quarterbacking that spot, making good reads, good decisions on whether to shoot the puck or do we need to kick a puck to a flank, and then our flank guys are getting their eyes up and just making some good plays with the puck, and that's been huge. Our zone entry, we've been really happy with the way we're getting the puck up the ice. They're making really good decisions. It should be 2 good passes, and a lot of the times we're able to gain the zone with the puck. So those are the things that have been really, really happy with that as a coaching staff.
So you come off that tough 5-4 loss on Saturday, and you have to go to Wilmer on Monday for a makeup game. And the Otters broke loose. You had a ton of shots, 41 shots on goal in the game, 22 in the second period, a period where you scored 5 goals. You don't see 5-goal periods very often. So that had to feel so good for you as a coaching staff and for your players to go out and do what you did in Wilmer.
Yeah, and we'd been kind of through a tough stretch. Played some tough teams, some really good opponents, and it was... you get into Wilmer, now we're into a Section 6A game. We hadn't been into a section game for a while, and the stakes are always a little bit higher when we're looking at seating situations with that. And you're playing on a Monday with a day off. Thank goodness we had played on Saturday. I think that was a real benefit to our guys. And we were able to put a game plan together on the bus on the way down there. I'd had really good meetings with the kids, and they had really good buy-in, tremendous execution throughout that hockey game, and we had a really good result because of it.
Yeah, and you mentioned the power play and Tanner running being the quarterback out there, and he got a power play goal for you to tie the game at 1, and that seemed to, kind of get you going. But then Wilmer took a 2-1 lead, so you had to respond quickly again, and after that, the floodgates kind of opened. And was it a situation where, because there were a lot of different guys contributing again, where no matter who was on the ice that day, opportunities were being created?
Our guys are working. They were going. You talk about quick response. Again, we'd scored to tie it. I think they scored on that next shift, and you're just like, oh, man, you got a power play goal on the road. Hopefully we can get this thing going. And, but you look at our response after that goal, that was huge. We scored. They were like grapes that came in bunches right after that. So we needed that for our guys. It was that lift that they needed, and it was just keeping the game simple. At the end of the day, you can overcomplicate things all day long, but keep the game simple, play within our structure, play up to our standards, and we were able to do that through that second period and just kind of took the wind out of their sail.
So you had 5-2 going into the third period, knowing what just happened in the third period on Saturday. Was there some concern there at all or not? It seems like they just went out and, added that 6th goal pretty quickly, and that had to kind of really relax everybody as far as any tension of letting the Wilmer Cardinals come back.
Yeah, there wasn't really discussion of that. We knew the task at hand, and we just needed to – our guys kept focused in the dressing room after that second period, and we knew we just needed to come out and play 17 more good minutes on the road. Once again, simple, pucks in, pucks out. Take care of your job every shift, and let's get out of here with the road win.
And Holden Stenstrom has been your rock in goal for you throughout the season. I'm sure Holden was kind of excited to see you guys get 41 shots and keep the puck on the other end, right? As a goalie, sometimes you like it down there.
Well, he gives him a little chance to catch his breath, and you can do a little reflection, a little evaluation. It's okay to watch the game from a distance a little bit and learn and see and watch as well.
Where have you seen Holden's game improve this year, Mike? He's played a lot of minutes for you in net.
Yeah, he has. One thing I think we're just visiting with him too. Some of those games you get out and he's been fighting the puck, I think, a little bit recently, last couple of games, and just talk to him. Let's just calm this thing down. Let's get some whistles. Let's try to slow some games down. I'm kind of a believer. Was never a goalie. I wanted to be, but let's let the puck hit you a little bit. Let's feel the puck. Sometimes I think if you get out and you're too aggressive in attacking that puck, your movements are off, your angles get a little bit off, and just the way that he's able to balance and reset through no matter what situation, and the way that his mental game just is his strength upstairs in his head is the way that he's able to keep himself in those games no matter what the situation is.
Yeah. Well, we're just going to quickly talk about Sartell. That was a 10-1 win for the Sabres. That's a good hockey team.
You talk about quickly. That was we had a great first period. You're out there, you're 1-1, and unfortunately we lose a face-off. And I thought we had a chance to block a puck and prevent that 2-1 puck from getting into the back of our net. And but our guys defended really well in that first period. Once again, we look at a game plan, and we thought we had great execution in the way that we went. But at the end of the day, they just overwhelm you. They have three lines. They just keep coming. They come over the wall, and the next three guys are going. They're in your face, strong on their sticks, make great hockey plays. And then when they get into that area, they were really good finishers. So I think a lot of things that when you look at that hockey game, a lot of good takeaways for our team to look at, and things that we can do, I think, as a hockey team as well.
And 3 games this final week of the regular season. Again, what are your goals this week as you look toward the playoffs?
Well, we got 2 section games to start the week. Wilmer, we go into their rink, 7-3 loss. That's going to leave a really bad taste in their mouth. So you know that they're going to show up ready to go. So that's where all of our attention needs to be. And then Breck Wap's been playing really good hockey. They had a stretch in December. I think they were 1-8 in December, and now they're, I think, probably 8-2 or 8-3 since the turn of the calendar. So they're playing good hockey. That's going to be another section game on Tuesday in their rink. More difficult to play in with huge seeding implications taking place. So we got to be really focused on those 2 games. We'll get through those 2, and then turn the last game on Friday against Hutch in our rink, and hopefully we can just end the season on a high note, and looking forward to getting ready for playoffs.
We'll look more at that next Saturday. All right. Hey, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mike Donahue, head coach of the Otter Boys hockey team. We're back with more on our Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe right after this timeout.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Have you ever experienced love at first drive? At Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls, that spark happens every day when customers get behind the wheel of a new Chevy or Buick vehicle. You'll also fall in love with how you'll be treated. Minnesota Motor Company is a dealership that provides honest deals and small-town care that lasts long after you drive off the lot. Find your new love today.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Hey, welcome back. Want to remind you to text the keyword Viking to 321-1926. Your chance to win a $25 Viking Cafe gift certificate coming up a little later on in the program. And we're going to talk Otter girls basketball right now. Josh Steer is in town. We were talking last night, Josh, after your win at Sauk Rapids. You talk about three different types of games this week. The Otters have had everything you can think of here. A tough loss at Brainerd on Monday, and then just a great game at the Otter Fieldhouse to beat Wilmer, and then you cruised last night against Sauk Rapids Rice. So you had three really different types of games.
Yeah, you look at look at it as a spectrum, and Brainerd on one end, Sauk Rapids on the other, and Wilmer kind of right in the middle. So, it was an interesting week. Going back to Monday, I know I heard Coach Johnson say a Monday game just makes the week feel so long, and they have to play this afternoon yet. So, it's just kind of a different feeling with no activities on the Tuesday this month. So, but yeah, it makes for a long week.
Bad omen on the opening tip in Brainerd, right? You won the tip, but
we won the tip, but we turned it over right away. We tipped it. Talking back with Carly on that one, she's normally on the other side on the tip. So, whatever her wires got crossed, and we won the tip, and we tipped it forward into the front court, and she dribbled it to the back court. So we had an over and back violation to start that one, and from there on out, it was kind of, you looked at the coaches and said, "Oh, it's going to be one of those nights," and it was definitely one of those nights. They shot it really well. I thought our defense was pretty lethargic. Haven't really seen that version of us since a Saturday afternoon game at Bemidji, probably, where we just weren't really moving on defense. Made things really comfortable for them offensively, and they're good. They're good.
Right.
So when you let them be comfortable in their offense, they're going to take advantage of it, and they kind of had their way with us, driving to the basket, kicking open shooters, dumping it down to Bjorklund in the post, who's really good. They kind of scored from anywhere they wanted to, and offensively, we didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but they made things difficult for us too.
Well, and when you fall behind on the road, especially like that, to get back into it, you need to shoot the ball well, and you've been a pretty good shooting team from 3-point range. You've been consistently pretty good with different shooters from out there, but you only hit 21% on your threes. Were you getting looks, or were they denying you looks, or what prevented you from trying to get back into that?
Yeah, they're well coached. And obviously when they came to us, we kind of had our way with them when they were playing man against us. So we knew that they weren't going to come out and play man against us. So they went to their 1-3-1 right away, which we actually got some good looks on early. And we were still in the game for a while. It was like 13-3. We were within 10, and we had some opportunities to close the gap and kind of make it a game. But then we just couldn't convert. And, they did a really nice job of switching up their defenses. They went in between a 1-3-1 and a 2-3. And it takes a couple of seconds of the possession to recognize that and get into your offense. And they're just really long and athletic. And even if it looks like you have a good look at the rim, they have a 6-footer flying down at you. So they make it really hard, and they defend really hard, and they defend really well, and they're long, and when they sit in a zone, they can make things really difficult.
So, Brainerd just starts the week with a 71-45 win over the Otters, and you knew you had a couple of more chances out there, actually had a couple of days to practice, which was nice because that's been kind of hard to find back-to-back practice days.
Yeah, for us to have 2 practices in a row is rare this time of year. So we took advantage of that, getting ready for Wilmer. The Brainerd game was one of those that you just kind of flush it. You say, all right, what are we really going to learn from that film? Looking at it, we knew we weren't good. When it was live, we didn't need to watch it again. We did watch a few moments of it again just to see what really went wrong. But then you have 2 days to prep for Wilmer, and full well knowing that the Brainerd game is, you want to compete, you want to go win it, of course. But in the grand scheme of the season, it really doesn't mean anything. It's a conference game. But if you ask any of the kids on the team, I think they'd rather win a section championship than a conference championship. And so Brainerd wasn't a be all end all. But the Wilmer game was a big one, and we've seen them so many times over the course of the last 2 years, and seeing them in the playoffs. Plus, we see them twice, so we've now met them 8 times in the last 3 years, and there's a chance we see them a 9th this year.
Yep.
So to play a team 9 times in the course of 3 seasons is pretty rare, and we've developed a little bit of a rivalry with Wilmer, so it's a great atmosphere, and we make them play at Roosevelt every single time. Because it's a rivalry, and I don't think they necessarily like playing over there, because I don't think they've won over there. So we kind of keep putting them over there, but they're a really good team, and they like to throw zone at you. I wasn't sure if they could match up man with us, and then of course they did. They went man the whole game.
Well, and you kind of stung them right away. You went on a nice run. What was it, 11-0 to start the game? But that might have been a wake-up call for them because they started playing pretty well after that.
Yeah, they have a senior in Lily Lang who's really good, and really has developed her game to be a score from every level kid. She was really a driver, finish at the rim kind of kid, and now she's developed an outside shot, and she hit a couple on us to kind of get that run going for them. And she's one of those kids that you have to know where she's at on the floor at all times, offensively or defensively, because she's long. And she's one of the fastest kids that I've seen on the court. So when she gets the ball in her hands, she's gone. And if she doesn't have the ball in her hands on the defensive side, she's ball hawking, and she's going to find it. So you got to know where she's at. And we lost her a couple of times, both offensively and defensively. And she got her hands on a couple of basketballs and took them the other way. But we also lost her in the half court a couple of times, and she hit some threes on us. But what a great game to have in February when you're gearing up for playoffs, because then they made a run, and then they took the lead at the end of the first half, but then before halftime we got the lead back 29-28, and then we played pretty even with them for a while. We extended the lead a little in the second half, and then I think with a couple of minutes left it was tied back at 53. So it was a game of runs, and then down the stretch we had to execute some offense, and they had to put us on the line because we got some stops, and then we converted down the stretch.
And how nice was it as a coaching staff to see your girls go to the line and make 21 out of 26? Because we've been talking about free throws all year, and they haven't been good conversations.
Yeah, we've been consistently inconsistent from the free throw line, right? So that was great to see, and our free throw percentage the last couple of games has been in the 70s to. I mean, we had one game. I think it might have been the Wilmer game. It was 81%. If that's what 21 out of 26 is or whatever it is. Close enough. Yeah, close enough. I made a math teacher. She can figure it out for me. She'll text me now. But when you convert down the stretch like that, I mean, it takes the game from being a 1-possession game to being a 2-possession game, or a 2-possession game to a 3-possession game. And you can extend your lead. You don't like the clock being stopped, but if you're scoring when it's happening, you're not going to complain about it. So, when you think about a free throw, it's probably more mental than it is physical for these kids, because they've repped shooting so many times in their lives that it's pretty natural, and it's quote unquote one of the easier shots. You've got no defense out there, so you just kind of have to slow yourself down. If you're fatigued, you just got to take a minute or take a second and get your breath, take a deep breath. And man, Reese Keel knocked down a couple, Presley knocked down a couple, and Hattie knocked down quite a few.
Yeah. Hattie had a double-double for you, 24 points, 10 rebounds. She's just been really consistent for you, on a roll here right now.
Yeah, and, we've kind of been – a couple weeks ago we were riding Carly was playing really well, and Ruby was shooting it really well. And Hattie was just giving us what Hattie always gives us, right? She was giving us about 11, 12 points a game, about 10 rebounds a game, which is outstanding. It's crazy to think that she can give us more than that, but she can, and she has been. So now I feel like we've kind of flipped a little bit, and Hattie, on Monday in Brainerd, she kind of carried us. She was kind of the bright spot of an otherwise gloomy night in Brainerd. So when she's playing to that level, and now when we get Carly and Ruby to be playing at the levels that they were playing at a couple of weeks ago, if we can have those three clicking, plus Presley the other night, she had like 8 points and 9 rebounds. If we're going to get that out of her, and Reese has been doing a great job on the point, taking care of the basketball. If we can get the perfect storm of all those things clicking at the same time, I think we're going to be a real big threat down the stretch.
Well, and it's good. I mean, teams know Ruby Ellison is leading you in scoring, or had been early in the year consistently. They're going to try to do something to silence her or slow her down. So somebody's got to step up, and Hattie has taken advantage of that. And as you just mentioned, other girls are also filling the void there. How about Elizabeth Clinert and her work on the boards?
Yeah, I was just going to bring her name up too, because she's long and she's athletic, and she's really starting to kind of blossom into a really nice varsity basketball player for us. And she just uses that athleticism, and she uses her length, and she just kind of knows where the ball's coming off at. It's like she finds the ball, and that's something that it's tough to coach. So she kind of has that natural instinct to go get it, and she puts herself in a really good spot to find the ball. So if she's coming off the bench and giving us those kind of numbers from the rebounding standpoint, and even scoring, she's hit, I think, 6 and 7 a few times here over the course of the last week. That's just added bonus for us. It just adds that depth piece that we need down the stretch too.
Well, and you mentioned how the stretch run against Wilmer was a real character test for you, and I think your girls passed that test.
Yeah, and it's amazing because we have so many activities going on, right? So the home crowd, we appreciate everybody that shows up, but it's maybe not always. The student section was a little light, right? It wasn't a packed house, but oh my gosh, it was like every possession. Both sides were hanging on every possession, and it felt really like a playoff game. It was a playoff atmosphere, I thought. And, every stop that Wilmer got, their bench would erupt and it would get loud. And we'd be bringing the ball up the floor. A couple of times I didn't have much of a voice, but I was really trying to yell and tell them what kind of set we wanted to get into. But it was such a fun atmosphere and a great atmosphere for us to play in, because come Tuesday when we go to Little Falls, front end of a doubleheader with their boys, they posted on social media what the game means for them. Mm-hmm. So we've got to be. It was good to be battle tested in that situation and have our girls come out with we can win these kinds of games and we can win them kind of handily down the stretch, because we're gonna execute.
And you come off that win at Roosevelt over Wilmer. 65-56 was the final. Like you said, you made your free throws down the stretch, created a little bit of separation there. Going into a game at a real sterile gym in Sauk Rapids, not a lot of atmosphere in Sauk Rapids. But knowing what you had to do, you're a much better team on paper than them record-wise, but those are kind of scary games, like how are we going to play? You don't want to just go out and go through the motions either, but you wound up with a 76-20 win. And how did you evaluate the performance in a game that's kind of hard to evaluate?
Yeah, it was a tough one, and we had played a really tough, pretty emotional game the night before. So the resilience and the adversity that you got to get on a bus and go on the road and play down in an environment that actually was probably the best I've seen, because it was cancer night for them.
Okay.
Yep, they have they're raising money for a 5th grader who has a form of thyroid cancer. So they were kind of using the event as a fundraiser for them, and it was great. I think they raised a bunch of money. The GoFundMe, I think, said that they were up to like 13,000 out of 15,000 of their goal, so that was great. But they had a band there, and their band had 90 kids in it.
Wow!
So if you've been in the Sauk Rapids gym, it's bleachers for miles going up the sides, right? And they had one section from the stairs to the railing on the end, and they went from top to bottom, and they had the whole band there, and it was actually it was fun, but we got off to kind of a sluggish start, I thought. as to be expected. I think we had some girls with some tired legs, some sore legs, and you kind of need to get through that first 3 minutes, and you're going to hit a wall with your endurance, and you got to push through it. And once you get through that first initial wave of fatigue, when you push through that wall, then it becomes a little bit easier actually. So I think it took us a while to get going defensively. We gave up a couple of middle drives that led to 3-pointers. We can't do that, and we were doing that too much early. But then we were converting too. I think it was like 10-9 for a while, and then we kind of took off from there.
And, of course, one of the bright spots in a game like that is you get a lot of players out there for a lot of minutes on the varsity floor. And you had some girls step up. Savannah Lee had 9 points for you. Ashton Lill had 8 points for you. Those are things coaches love to do. You love to reward these kids with varsity playing time because they're all working hard in practice.
Yeah, for us to be able to be in a situation where those girls can get in the game and then be really successful. Savannah's given us a lot of minutes over the course of the year in meaningful games and in non-meaningful games, or however you want to say that nicely. But she's given us a lot, and Ashton's been such a great program kid. They're both seniors. They've given the program so much. So for them to be able to go out there and show, that hey, I can score, I can shoot, I can knock down some shots, and I can contribute too. And those things are awesome because they're such good kids. And they work really, really hard. They show up every day. They put in the work. They make us better as a team in practice. So for them to be rewarded with scoring some points and getting some stats is awesome.
Now let's look ahead here to this coming week. And you mentioned the social media post on Little Falls about what this game means to them. Tell the viewers and listeners what this game does mean on Monday night, because it's a big one.
So yeah, being the number 1 seed in this section is pretty important most years. But this year it's especially important because there is no neutral site section final. So the number 1 seed becomes the host, or the high seed becomes the host throughout the section playoffs. So if you're the number 1 seed and you win your first 2 games, you host a section final in your gym. So us in Little Falls are in that 1-2 spot in the QRF, and we're at number 1, they're at number 2, but the head-to-head record, or the head-to-head winning percentage, as they call it, is what matters. So whoever wins the game on Tuesday will likely be the number 1 seed for the Section 8-3A playoffs. And not only that, but when you look at being the 2 or the 3, we would be the 2, I think. I think we're locked in there, or 1. But if you're the 2 seed, then you're looking at hosting Wilmer in the section semifinals. If you're the 1 seed, you're looking at hosting Sartell or DL in the section semifinals. So it also gives you a different look there. But home court advantage, when I look at our home record, I think we're 11-1 maybe at home. So if we can play in front of the maroon and gold, that would be great. But at the same time, I'm not going to put a whole lot of stress on the importance of the game on Tuesday, because I don't think our crew is afraid to play anybody, anywhere, anytime. So we're gonna really buckle down here these last 2 weeks of the regular season. We're gonna fine tune what we do, and then we'll be ready to make the playoff push with whatever happens. But it would be really nice to go in there and get a win on Tuesday night.
Well, and the thing I always think about is it's always a reward for the home fans when you get that top seed and they get more home games. It's easier for them to get to, and yeah, that's a motivating factor right there for sure.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with it. I was on the football staff this fall, and we hosted a section final in our home stadium, and it's just it's kind of a weird feeling. You're doing the trophy presentation and the medals on your home field, and it's just it doesn't feel quite as, I don't know, special as it does when you're cutting down the nets at DL or St. Cloud or Moorhead or something like that. So I think for the kids, I think it would be better if it was a neutral site section final, because I think it just adds a little element to it. But yeah, it'll be really important. It'll be really important for whoever hosts that game.
All right, we're going to leave it there, Josh. We'll look forward to a busy week, 3 games for you. They also play at Ricori Thursday, and then at Moorhead next Saturday against Fargo Davies. So we'll be able to talk about that one next Saturday morning.
Yep, sounds great.
All right, thanks, Josh.
Awesome, thanks, Craig.
Josh Steer of the Otter Girls basketball team. One last chance for you to text the keyword Viking to 321-1926, okay? 321-1926, and you could win a $25 gift certificate from the Viking Cafe. All right, don't go away. There's more to come on the other side of the break on the Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Have you ever experienced love at first drive? At Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls, that spark happens every day when customers get behind the wheel of a new Chevy or Buick vehicle. You'll also fall in love with how you'll be treated. Minnesota Motor Company is a dealership that provides honest deals and small-town care that lasts long after you drive off the lot. Find your new love today.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Welcome back, everyone. Randy Hansen's here, the head coach of the Otter Boys swimming and diving team. You know, girls hockey is already in the playoffs, and the boys swimming is like the last team to get into the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, I think we're the last to start the season, too,
right,
in the winter, so that's fine.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. But it does get to be a long season. I've always had so much respect for the boys swimmers because your practices, and you do some early morning practices, maybe not as many as in the past, but you get out there and it's 30 below wind chill, and you're going to the pool, and you got to jump in the pool, get out of the pool, go to class, and then, you're going to the pool again for practice or for a meet. And that gets to be kind of a grind at times.
Yeah, it does. You know, we haven't done morning practices for quite a few years since before COVID, so I don't miss that. And the winter gets a little dicey with kids coming in the morning if the roads are not great, and so it's just nice to not. And it hasn't hurt us. So we do Saturday mornings though, so there's that. But yeah, this the season in general. It's, you know, you go to school and it's dark, and you leave and it's dark, and it does get to be a lot. So. But you know, it's fun too when the guys are, you know, doing well and competing hard, so that's what makes it easy, I guess.
Well, they focus in on it, that's for sure. You're into your season and into your routine, and that's important to have that routine and be disciplined, as you said, in that routine. So now it starts to pay dividends. Here we go into the postseason. You go through all season long with your practices, your training, your dual meets, your invites that you're a part of, but you're always gearing up for this time of the year. And here we are at the conference meet. Now, this is not the most important meet that you're going to have. That's the section meet in a couple of weeks.
2 weeks, yep.
But today it's important because I've always said our conference meet is more competitive than our section meet year in and year out. So you get good competition today.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and some of the conference teams are in our section. So DL will be there, Sauk Rapids and Sartell, and us. And so Alec is now AA. But so we'll see some of them as well. So that's kind of a preview of that. We really, you know, we get to compete against, you know, some really good swimmers from St. Cloud. And the Alec guys are really good and Brainerd guys are good. So yeah, it really is a, you know, preview of that and helps us get into that. We've been talking a lot about championship mindset, you know, the last couple of days, just like it's time to focus in, time to, you know, eliminate, you know, some silly things that you might do in practice and not think about stuff. So, this is a great meet for that. And and we're sitting, we're not going to win the team championship meet. We're just not deep enough and big enough. So, and that's fine. But we've got a lot of guys that are sitting in the last heat in the top 8. So that's some great. It's going to be some great swims for them because, all conference is nice. It's not the end all and be all, but that's, you need to be in basically the top 6 or top 4 in relays. And we got a lot of guys that are in that and in the mix. So, they're going to swim well and they're up for the challenge today for sure.
Well, and your guys know who that guy is in the lane next to him and what he's done. And there's that motivation to compete against top level swimmers that you don't get meet in and meet out.
Yeah, for sure. And nowadays with, everything's online. So, it's so easy to find. You used to have to scour papers and try to find it. None of that happens anymore. There's databases and stuff all over the place. And so, exactly what people can swim and what they do. And the guys know each other. They're friends with a lot of them. And so it's fun to beat your friends. And so, they really know what it takes to step up at this time of year. Yeah.
Well, I know we didn't have any meets this last week, and I still wanted you to come in just to preview a lineup for us. So what are we going to see out there in the water today? And is this lineup today kind of what you're going to take into the section meet in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think teams generally kind of do that anyway. We want our top relays to be there and do that, and so we've kind of solidified the the medley and the 4 free have been pretty much the same all season. So those guys, the medley will be Reese, Ethan Sarandi, Lucas Toole, and Jaden Kopinski, and then the 4 free will be Landon Vadava, Matthew Toole, Reese, and Jaden Kopinski in that. And so those have been pretty well set the whole season. And other teams kind of do the same kind of thing. Where you see differences is people might move some people around. Like, so for example, we took Lucas out of the 100 fly and put him in the 100 backstroke just to see what happens. He'll probably swim fly or sections, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Jaden Kopinski is not going to do the 50 freestyle. He's going to do 3 relays instead today and the 100 free. So just to see, he was more than happy to not swim the 200 IM. When I kind of proposed it to him, he got a big grin on his face. Like, oh shoot, I don't have to swim the 200 IM. So he's been really good at it, but it's a beast of an event. So so we do a little bit of stuff like that with guys. And probably the biggest shakeup we did with our 2 free relay, putting Jaden in there, and Ethan Strandy has been doing really well, but Jaden gives us another second, in there. That's huge in that race. So we'll see what that looks like. I mean, those guys might be able to get top 8 at section or at state, so we'll see. We got some things to decide. And so that relay is going to go, and we mixed up the order too, just to see what happens. We're going to put Lucas first, to Matthew, to Landon, then to Jaden anchor with that. And so, that's going to be a fun one to watch because we we really shuffle the deck on that one. But otherwise, guys are, the top guys are in their regular events. Reese is in the fly and the backstroke. Matthew and Landon are both in the 2 and the 5. Ethan's in the 2 IM and the 100 breast. And Lucas is in the 2 IM and 100 back instead. So, and then, we just got to fill in with some of the other guys with things that they can do and do well. Like, Solashore is going to do the 200, and he's not really a 200 guy, but he does pretty well, and there's an opening, so we put him in that, and then he's in the 100 breast. And so you just got to mix some guys around a little bit and fill in the holes as best we can, and hope we all stay healthy.
Of course, that's the key, number one. All conference honors, as you mentioned, it's not the end-all be-all, but it's important. It's exciting. It's something to be proud of. You've reached that spot. Where do you feel your best chances are to compete for a championship in an event? Do you have some guys that you feel are right there to be winners of their events?
Yeah, Reese is seated first in the backstroke, so that's probably our best shot. Landon and Matthew are right near the top in the 2 and the 5. That's probably the next best shot. Our relays, we got guys in the top. Our medley, our 4 free is, I think it's second if I remember right. So we're right in there with that. So you just never know, but I guess if you had to pick one, Reese in the backstroke would probably be the most likely, but who knows? I mean, again, conference championship's great. We're happy for you, but and you get all conference, if you're the top 3, that's wonderful, but it's all about just racing hard and swimming hard today and, beating the guy next to you and getting set up for 2 weeks from today. That's what really matters.
Well, and of course, you have 3 seniors who are in their last conference meet.
Right.
And that's something. Everything they're checking off these lasts. Yep. So this is one of those lasts for these swimmers. and just they know the importance of this meet, even if it's not for winning it or whatever, claiming a championship. It's prep for what's ahead, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, there's a little bit of, oh man, it's our last of this. But we don't talk a lot about that. The guys kind of kid about that. Oh, it's our last time going to this pool or
Right.
that. So there is some of that, and that's just natural and things.
Yeah.
But this isn't a farewell tour all year for those guys. I mean, we got business
Right.
to take care of. But yeah, the conference is it is a big deal, and it'd be nice to have all three of those guys get all conference honors, because honestly, it's been tough. I mean, I think the conference is still really good. It's not as good as it has been overall, but it's still pretty top notch. And so getting all conference or honorable mention for multiple guys would be a nice feather in the cap for the end of the season.
I've always thought that conference schedule really prepares you well for what you're going to see at sections, and that's important. As we look at the next 2 weeks, and getting ahead of the game a little here, but training is so important all season. Where are you at training-wise right now? What was this last week like, and what's it going to look like, after today?
Well, starting Monday is taper, and that's the magical time of year, So, there's that, but it's it's kind of just the nice taper down to the section meet, and then hold on for state. So they're definitely looking forward to that. But this week, we worked them really hard. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday were pretty brutal. It's probably our toughest 3-day stretch of the season. So they were dragging pretty good. But by yesterday, there was a level of goofiness that we haven't seen for a while too. So they bounced back pretty quickly, which is good. But I kind of had to, a couple times all right, you got to be all business on this set here. Okay, we got to tone down the, and then they got back to what they're focused on, what they need to do. But so they're pretty loose, they're pretty ready. I think they're definitely tired. Because just because of the long season, and they're ready for taper. But man, we take times on different sets and during the season, and they're just all across the board, just crushing it. So that's hopefully we haven't done anything wrong, but the next few weeks I'm not gonna sleep super well, and I have pits in my stomach oh, maybe we should have done this or this, and and I just. Yeah, so a little bit of anxiety, but it'll be fine. We worked really hard. They did well, and so we just have to trust that we did our job, and that it'll all come together in the end.
Are there any team records in view for these guys?
Yeah, the 4 free relay is legit. That could go down. So that's from 2016 or 17, I think. I can't remember. But it's the Luke Rates, in that group. The 500 record is totally within reach for Matthew as well, and Landon's right there too. But this year, Landon's kind of got the edge on Matthew in the 200, and Matthew's had the edge in the 500, but they're very, very close. But I know Matthew's had that 500 in sight, and Reese would really like the 100 backstroke record. He's got some work to do with that, but that's not out of the question either. So just the fact that you are close enough, to actually see it and have it possibly be there is pretty fun. But those guys have been fixated on that 4 free relay since last year, and it's totally possible, but they're going to have to do it, and we'll see what they can do today. It doesn't have to be their best splits, but we have to show that, yep, it's in there, and we just have to wait for taper to bring it out.
Do these guys as a whole like the Wilmer pool? Are they comfortable there?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's 8 lanes. It has a separate diving well, which is, a nice feature, because during the meet they can, cool down and warm up and whatever else. So that's helpful. But I don't know. It's fine. We don't go there a ton, just every other year, but it's good. Yeah.
And the health of the otters overall?
Well, we're good, more or less. Anders Strasvig has been battling ear infections, and so he's out today. And so, I kind of knew that might happen, and so I'm eating breakfast, drinking coffee this morning, and my phone buzzes, and so I look at it, okay, Anders is out, and then it buzzes again later, and what's that? And then, Riley Anderson's got the flu, so hopefully this isn't a precursor of things, but it's going around. School is kind of gross right now. There's stuff going around, and it is what it is. But so those guys are out, but that's all I know. Well, we'll see who's on the bus, I guess. But,
okay.
So I have to do some shuffling, but for the most part, we're healthy. We're just sore and tired.
Sure.
But yeah, I just the instructions every day: take care of yourself, hydrate, stay away from gross people. That's just take care of what you can do. But,
that's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enjoy the day. We'll
Yeah,
look forward
thank
to
you.
reviewing it next week.
All right, appreciate it.
All right. Randy Hansen, head coach of the Otter Boys swim team. And we'll continue with Hillcrest girls basketball next as our Coaches Show continues, presented by the Viking Cafe.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Have you ever experienced love at first drive? At Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls, that spark happens every day when customers get behind the wheel of a new Chevy or Buick vehicle. You'll also fall in love with how you'll be treated. Minnesota Motor Company is a dealership that provides honest deals and small-town care that lasts long after you drive off the lot. Find your new love today.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
We are back with Hannah Clark joining us, the head coach of the Hillcrest girls basketball team, who won their 20th game of the year last night. I mean, Hannah, that's a lot of wins in one year.
It's always fun when we can get that 20 mark. Really, the amount of wins during the season doesn't mean much. It's really what we can do at the end of the season that the girls are really looking towards. But 20 wins, it just shows how well the girls work together and how much work they put in the off season. So always fun for them to get that 20th win.
Well, let's talk about three of them here. This last week, Park Christian last Saturday. That's turned into a big day when you go to Park Christian.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite days of the year. Both teams, the boys and girls, both go up there, or they both come here. And a lot of people have crossover. They have relatives at one or the other school. Some of them who have kids at Park Christian went to Hillcrest and vice versa. And so it's just a really fun day. It's like one big family get together, but it's also a huge rivalry. And so it was a fun day of basketball. I thought our girls played really well. Park Christian played us tough and made a run in the second half. And we really had to buckle down on our defense in the second half. And I thought our girls did just that. But it was a really fun day, and just to come away with a win made it even more fun.
63-46 was a final, and the usual suspects doing it for you. And your team has been, and we talked earlier with Matt Johnson about how players need to fill the roles on their team to make it a solid team. Well, your girls have really done that. I mean, you've got people who are going to be your top scorers game in and game out, but the complementary role players are doing their job to a T, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and they really embrace those roles. And I think our whole team really encourages them to continue in what they do good for the team. I just think our defense, we've got so many girls who maybe don't get in the stat book with scoring or things like that, but what they bring on defense and their energy and their rebounding is so important to our team. And then we have girls in it. It really depends on the night, and anyone can do it. Step up and score 8 to 10 points, and that's huge for us. And so I just think of Stella and Brooke coming off the bench and the big minutes that they've been playing for us. Emmy Berge has just been our defensive spark for our team, and when she's on the floor, everyone else really rallies around her. And Nevaeh Stender has just been getting stronger and stronger as the season goes on. And she's such a presence in the paint. And if we've got all those girls really filling in those roles and coming up big every game, it really takes the load off of those Ella, Elsa, Elin, when everyone else can contribute in other ways.
Yeah, Elsa had 21, Elin had 20, and Ella had 11.7 rebounds, 5 assists, a typical Ella night. So they were leaders against Park Christian. But again, Nevaeh Stender with 8, Tammy Berge with 4 rebounds, 3 steals. Brooke had 3. So yeah, a lot of girls stepping up. And then against Border West, your defense was really in good shape early on, especially.
It was. I think we got a couple 10-second calls in the backcourt. 35-second shot clock violations. Our team was just really dialed in defensively, where offensively maybe we struggled a little bit to really get going in the first half, but I was really proud of how our defense was clicking.
Well, the thing that I'm really, when I watch you on the video stream like last night, I'm really impressed with the way your defense swarms. You're not doing a one-on-one guarding. You've got people helping all the time.
Yes, and last night I thought our defense really buckled down in the last 2 minutes of the game when we needed it the most. And so that's so good to see. I think when our girls really put their minds to it and say, we've got to get stops, they really take it to heart and they work so well together with that. So if we can always just get them to be disciplined and keep up their intensity, we can be really tough on defense. But we just have to have that mindset that we are going to be that way and play that way for 36 minutes.
Yeah. And against Border West, one of your comments after that 75-31 win was how you liked the way you moved the ball around and got good looks. Mm-hmm. Is that something you've been stressing when you're working on your offensive sets?
Yeah, and with the people we have on our team who can score all over the court, it's just so important that we aren't rushing shots and that everyone's touching the ball, everyone's involved and being, engaged in the game, and making the defense work. So the more we move the ball around, the more the defense has to work, the more defensive breakdowns and closeouts that we create really sets us up for high percentage shots. And so if we can, our focus is, can we get a paint touch? Can we get a ball reversal before we shoot? And when we get 2 of those, 2 out of 2 each possession, we get really good looks at the bucket. And I think our girls are learning that as the game goes on, as the season goes on. And if we can continue to really work the ball around and not have to play defense the whole game, and make the other team's defense work, we're going to get good looking shots. And I think it's going to be so important at the end of the season.
20 assists on 28 made baskets. That's a good statistic. You'll take that ratio any night.
Yes, we're very unselfish. We've got girls who can score in bunches, but no one really cares about who's going to be the leading scorer on our team.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, if the shot presents itself, everyone expects you to take it, and everyone has confidence in you to take that shot. So I think our girls are playing such unselfish basketball, and which makes it hard for teams to defend. When we have everyone looking to shoot, looking to score, looking to get others involved. I just loved that all but 8 shots were assisted.
Right.
And that just shows how unselfish we can be.
Well, let's go to last night because that was a game to remember. I think I watched the end of that game, the last few minutes, just to get a feel for how did this happen, because you rallied you were 13 down at one point, but I think you were 9 points down with just a couple minutes to go.
Yeah.
And your defense just kind of took charge and really controlled the last few minutes.
Yeah, Underwood played such a great game. I thought they came out and they were the aggressors. They just came out and attacked us. And I thought we played very back on our heels. We were playing not to lose rather than to win. And Underwood just did such a great job taking it to us. And I think it was we made a little run. With a minute left, we were down 8. I think that's what it was. And we called a timeout, and we just told our girls, we've got to get it done, whatever it takes. Defensively, we've got to get stops, and then offensively, we have to attack. We cannot just be passive on that side of the floor. And I just thought our last 2 minutes into that last minute were so great. Our defense caused multiple turnovers that allowed us to get some good looks at the basket. And I'm still a little bit in shock at how it finished, but I think the biggest takeaway for our girls is just to know that we can never count ourselves out. It would have been easy being on the road in an environment where it was a loud, packed gym with both teams having huge turnout in the crowd. And when we got down 13, when we were down 10, when we were down 8 with a minute left, it still would have been easy to just kind of give up and say, okay, we did our best, but it just isn't happening for us. But our girls just would not take no for an answer, and I'm so proud of how they've finished out the game.
Well, you made it a 1-point game with an offensive rebound by Elin Retzloff and a putback, and she was fouled and went to the line. Now all of a sudden it's a 1-point game, and you did not allow Underwood to get the ball in bounds. Your defense was so smothering on the players that they couldn't find anybody to get the ball to.
Yeah.
And now you've got it under the basket with a chance to win.
Yep. In my head, I keep hearing Coach Preston yelling to our girls, do not let them get the ball in. Do not let them get the ball in. And our girls just weren't going to let that happen. And it was such a big turning point for us. We needed that. And with the amount of time left on the clock, and Ella made a great read and a cut to the basket and a good finish. And so it was just so good to see for her. We had talked in the middle of that second half to Ella, our offense wasn't really clicking necessarily. We weren't really sticking to our offensive scheme, what we were trying to do. And I just told Ella, I said, you've got great instincts. Go find the gaps in their zone, make cuts to the basket, attack. And I thought she did a really good job in the second half, just really making sure that our offense was rolling and getting some looks at the bucket.
Yeah, Ella had a great all-around game, and so did Trinity Baker for Underwood.
Yes.
I mean, what's the old saying? You can't stop her. You can only hope to contain her. I think that was.
She played so well, and she shot so well too. I think she had 6 threes on the night. I think she was maybe 4 for 4 inside the arc, something like that. But she just played so well, and I thought we had some mental errors where whoever was guarding her went to double down in the post or went to help off of someone, and we just can't do that on a girl like Trinity, especially when she's playing the way she was last night. She's become such a leader for that team and really embraced that role of having to score more, where maybe in the past she hasn't had to do so. So happy for her with the game that she had. Wish it wasn't against us. It made things much more difficult for us. But yeah, she's a great player. And like you said, we can only hope to slow her down. Yeah. And she just took it to us.
She's had quite a week. She was the athlete of the week on my website last week when she won over 1,000 points. And then last night, doesn't happen often, she was a quality player of the game because she had such an outstanding game.
Yeah, not just offensively, defensively, she does so much. She just had so many steals that led to some transition buckets for them, and she is just really the engine that makes them run, and so she's having a great season.
Now, does that clinch the conference title for you, or a share of it?
It clinches a share. If we win one of these games this week, we would win outright. So we still have 2 conference games, both away, so we've got to take care of business.
Yeah, at Parker's Prairie on Monday, and then at Rothsay on Thursday. You getting used to these Saturday and Monday games? There have been more of those this year, haven't there?
We have had a lot. And, I think it's good for our girls to play out of routine. I think when I look at the section, if we were to happen to be in the section finals, that's a day that we don't have school. And so all of these games, these Saturday games, Monday games where maybe, we just have a varsity game because of weather, we pushed it forward, only helps our girls to be mentally prepared for whatever the game looks like, whatever the situation. And I thought our girls have handled these one-off games really, really well. And so I'm hoping that, going to Parker's on a Monday in February, our girls can come mentally prepared to play.
Well, and you play Rothsay on Thursday on the road, and that team has had an outstanding season, too.
Yep, they just play so well. Coach Heyer does such a great job with them, and they really play hard for her. And going to Rothsay is no easy feat, so we've got to go in there, like I said, come mentally prepared for that game, too, because Rothsay is one of those teams that they can come out and play any night, and they're going to be tough. They've got some tough matchups. Savannah Sullivan is, I think, one of the top players in our conference, and they've just got some great role players around her that can knock down buckets, that they defend well. They play such good team basketball, which makes them really scary.
And they could be a team that is tough to match up with in playoff
Yeah, I always say
too.
I don't want to see Rothsay in the playoffs ever. Any team, it's going to be a tough team, but Rothsay is one of those that man, they can come out and play and they can knock anybody off. So I really hope to avoid them as much as possible there in the playoffs.
Well, I think we're destined to see a Hillcrest Underwood a third game this year.
Yes.
I believe it might happen.
The playoffs are going to be fun, and especially now there's no north and south half. It's all one section. So that'll be fun to see how that all shakes out.
You bet. All right. Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you so much.
Paula Russell wins the $25 gift certificate from the Viking Cafe. What'd you say? Yeah, Paula Russell. Yeah. I think I said Paula, didn't I? Yeah. You thought I said Paul. I thought I said Paula. You say Paul, I say Paul. It was Paula Russell.
Well, if you're having any arguments, I'll take it.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll be back, 4 more shows, I think, in the winter season. So be sure to tune in next Saturday from 8 to 9:30 as we'll bring you our Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe.
Thank you for joining us for the News Talk 1250 KBRF Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe and brought to you by the Minnesota Motor Company, Lake Region Healthcare, Nelson Auto Center,